Wow, man. I like owls, and that thing is huge. Hey there, guys. Luke here with the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you're all doing well. Tonight, for this episode, we are doing the question and answer series. Part 4, I believe it is. It might be part 5, can't remember. But anyways, I am addressing all of the questions that you guys have submitted to me on YouTube, the website, Facebook, and so on. Now, as you guys can see, we are back here at the Moses Cone Manor. Supposedly haunted. Maybe so, maybe not, who knows. Now, we came out here for the Blood Moon night hike, which was an awesome time. We're going to be doing a completely different trip. Instead of going up the mountain, we're going to be going down the mountain. And we're going to be coming down at this big, beautiful lake, and then we'll work our way back up. We're looking at 8 miles. Not too shabby, so without any delay, let's go on. Let's start beating our feet. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, there's another one. We are now underway, going basically downhill for about 4 miles here. Definitely some switchbacks, all that good stuff. But this is a really, really cool trail, definitely one of my favorites. This is one that my friends and I frequent all the time. I tell you, the difference that one day can make. Last night, my brother and I, we came out here, hiked around. It was 20 degrees, the winds were rocking about 20 miles sustained, gusts up to like 45. And everything was covered in snow. Now, as you can see here, I have my Hill People Gear chest rig. Love this thing. This is the original kit. This is fantastic. But it is time to get rid of the toboggan, the beanie, whatever you want to call it. Also, I have this buff. And when it's really cold, really windy, I like to just pull it up over my face. Keeps me nice and warm. Now, what I have right here are pages upon pages of questions that you guys have submitted to me to answer. And that's what we're going to do. So, since we have so many questions, we might as well get started and answer the first one. This is from Alejandro, and he wants to know, why don't you use a GoPro for your hikes? And the truth is, I do have one. I ended up picking up the GoPro 4, and you guys will definitely see that in action later on. And really, I just haven't had enough time to test it out yet. I haven't been able to test the sound quality and all that stuff. So right now, we're just sticking with the big boy camera. Fantastic quality for video and audio. So there you go. One question down. Let's take off. Now, of course, this night hike and the question and answer video also gives me an excuse to get out and just enjoy the night. But also, I am testing out some new gear. Right now, we are rocking a new flashlight from Through Night. Very impressive flashlight. I like it a great deal. Now, with this flashlight, there are some things that I don't care about. And I'll tell you guys more about that in the previews, which should be coming up pretty soon. Possibly even before this video does. Also, we are testing out a flashlight from SUP-Fire. S-U-P-Fire. It's the A6. Very inexpensive flashlight, very powerful. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. Even when I do a preview video, I like to take the time and be able to give you guys my impressions. I think that's very important. Then, of course, over time, with more use, I can give a full, good review. I wonder, what will we see tonight? Already, I'm getting covered in spider webs. No doubt about it. Also, for this adventure, I have a new pair of shoes. And you guys already know that I am a big fan of the Vask Juxt shoes. But there's a new version for 2014, and I just happen to have them on. You know, not only is this a night hike and a question and answer video, but a gear test as well. But you guys get to see how I go about actually testing my gear. I get it out. I take it out in the field. I put it through its paces over and over and over. That's how I roll. When it comes to gear testing, it's all about just getting it out into the field and working with it. Seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. So I can give you guys the best information possible. I want to give a shout out to my buddy, Deputy Prepper. Andrew, you're a good man, and I appreciate your friendship, buddy. That's very cool. Next up, we have a question from Upper Creek Prepper. He says that, Luke, you've done a lot of reviews and previews on European military surplus gear. His question is, when am I going to do a review from Europe? Hopefully soon, my friend. Wouldn't that be awesome? One final question, and we'll continue on. Or this will be a long hike, no doubt about it. UDAC wants to know, since you've showed us how to camp in different seasons, it would be nice to see you camp in different environments. Yeah, you know, I would love to do that, but that is not very easy, especially since I'm a family man and I have work to do. So right now, in a sense, my hands are kind of tied together, you know. But as the kids get older and more independent, I'm sure we will be doing things like that. Definitely stretching out a little bit. As we're walking along here, we might as well answer another question or two. Michael wants to know, when are we going to do some more workout videos? And I definitely have some more planned, so hopefully I'll get around to shooting those soon. I mean, I work out every single day for at least 30 minutes. Makes me feel good, gives me energy. I highly recommend that you guys work out every single day as well. Now, speaking of the workout videos, I have a question for you all. What type of workout videos do you all want to see? I mean, is there a certain muscle group that you want me to focus on, or total body? I mean, whatever, let me know. Now, so far, all the lighting that you're seeing in this video is done with this ThruNite flashlight. And this is the ThruNite Neutron C2V2. It's definitely a bright flashlight, a number of different modes, runs with a number of different battery types. I have an 18650 battery in it right now, and it does incredibly well. Very long-lasting, very inexpensive flashlight. Greg wants to know, are we going to do more videos in regards to the ultralight sort of setup? And absolutely, we definitely will. We touched on a number of different products over the course of the summer, but there's still plenty more to hit on. And really, that just kind of got lost in transition there. I mean, just moving from one thing to the next. But yeah, we will definitely pick up with more ultralight gear. And we'll actually do some more this winter, because I believe in going lightweight all year round, as long as you're being safe. You have to be smart. So, yep, definitely coming up. Carlton wants to know, what else do I do besides just outdoor stuff, backpacking, and all that? What do I do as like a hobby? What do I do to relax? And, you know, honestly, folks, this is what I do to relax. Stuff falling out of the tree there. Yeah, really, I like to spend all of my time outdoors if I can. You know, I have 2 jobs, so that ties me up with a computer quite a bit. So stepping away from the computer is like a little vacation to me. And if I could do this, come outside by myself, awesome. If I could come out with some of my friends, awesome. If I could come out with my wife or my kids, even better. My time is spent working, and it's spent with my family. So, yeah, there you go. I don't watch much TV. Probably each week I may watch 2 hours of television altogether. And really, it's just a bunch of old stuff. I do happen to like The Walking Dead, though. I think that show is pretty good. Also, I do like to read, but lately I haven't had much time for that. Wanderer112 wants to know if I could do some reviews or at least previews on some waterproof phones that have GPS. I will see what I can do. Now, when it comes to smartphones, there may be a small amount that truly are waterproof. They definitely have some older phones, dumb phones, that are waterproof, have GPS and stuff like that. So I will see what I can do for you. One final question, and this comes from Joe Do. He says that he just cannot get his head around the measurements of ounces, pounds, feet. I completely understand what you mean, and I do try my best to put in, you know, like if I'm going to do Fahrenheit, I'll try to put in Celsius as well. But the truth is, to add all that stuff in there takes a good bit of work, and truthfully, it's a little bit easier for you all just to go do the conversion real fast than for me to do the conversion, put it into the video, and so on. So, yep, I do my best. You know, that's how it goes. As I told you, folks, I like to do quite a bit of reading. And before I came out here, I was reading an old story from 1919. And basically, it centered around the Great Molasses Flood that took place in Boston. There's this molasses factory, basically, and one of these gigantic containers exploded. According to the story that I read, it said that molasses was flowing through the streets at 35 miles an hour. It ended up killing 21 people and injured 150. That's insane. Could you imagine being in a molasses flood? Sounds like a bad joke. As you may have noticed, I've really been getting into carrying flashlights. When I'm out hiking around, I absolutely love a good flashlight. I don't mind carrying it. I don't mind holding it in my hand, especially when they're this powerful. Yes, there are headlamps that are also as powerful as these flashlights, but typically you're talking about a good piece of gear, something that weighs quite a bit on your noggin. When I'm out backpacking, that's a different story. You definitely want your hands free when you're setting up camp and doing things in the dark, but when you're out hiking, it's absolutely perfect. We've been hiking for a while now, and already I can tell that at this pace, we're not going to be able to go to the apple barn and take the maze all the way down. It's just going to take too long. So we're just going to head on down to the lake, and we'll end up doing about 5 or 6 miles. Still a pretty good trek, no doubt about it. This individual says that they just recently found the channel, they love the videos, they love the website because it's very educational and easy to follow. Keep it up. Hey, thank you, my friend, I appreciate that. It says here, I noticed that sometimes, if not most of the time, you tend to find affordable hiking, camping solutions for people with a tight budget. It says that this person tries to do the same thing, and you know what? Man, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I definitely do what I can. You know, when it comes to being outdoors, when it comes to backpacking and camping, it's not about the gear, it's about the experience. But of course, you have to have the right gear for the job and the right know-how. Miles Outdoor Bushcraft Bro wants to know, how much money did I spend on all the gear that I own? Because there's a lot of expensive stuff. And the answer is a lot. But, I mean, this gear comes from collecting it for such a long time. It's not like I went out and bought all this stuff yesterday. So, you know, I save my money, I buy the things that I want. Yeah, there you go. It's just like tools. You don't go out and purchase all the tools at once. You collect them over a span of time, if that makes sense. Rob wants to know, how do I go about planning my trips to new areas? Things like water, permits, getting maps, where the trailhead is. You know, stuff like this. I always make sure to research my trip ahead of time. And I try to get as much information as I possibly can. So, you know, I do look for information such as water sources. I, of course, figure out where the trailheads are. And that's really important there because you always need to tell someone where you're going. Let a couple of people know. And not just people on Facebook. You let people that actually care about you, you know, your family, your loved ones, your closest friends. You need to let them know. So really getting your details straight. You know what route you're going to take to that place. And from that place, from the trailhead, where are you going? You need to let somebody know that information. So if you don't come home, they know where to send people to look for you. So yeah, I always do a lot of research. I try to learn as much as I can about water. I figure out if the trail branches off, goes on different other trails. It's just information that you need to know. And usually, if it's an actual trail, you will find tons and tons of information. There's plenty of websites out there that really go over all of those details. So look at the reviews, see what people say. You know, if it's really, really strenuous and you're just now getting into backpacking, you know, you're just now getting into shape, you may want to find a different trail. So, yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of planning. It boils down to common sense. You need to know what you can handle. And you need to really just plan things out so that you're not putting your life at risk. You don't want to go on a 4-day trip and only to discover that there's no water along the way. You have to plan ahead of time, carry the extra water. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. In the future, I'll do a video on how to plan your trips safely so you can have like the most fun out of them, so you can really enjoy it. Now, UDAC, he basically has the same sort of question. What do you do about, like, if you live in a location like California, where there's a drought, there's not much water? You could do some searching online and try to get the most accurate information that you can about the hiking trails and if there is water. You know, if you can't find that information, you might as well assume that there is no water and carry it in with you. Never make assumptions that there's going to be water around the corner or there's a creek and it's not dried up. You know, when you make assumptions, you know the old saying, it makes an ass out of you and me sort of thing. So definitely be smart. Don't assume anything. Don't take anything for granted. And, you know, there you go. Also, UDAC wants to know, do I use sites like Reserve America to reserve campsites? Honestly, I've never used that site. I'm not sure if I've ever even been to it. So most of the time, I do not use websites to make any sorts of reservations. If I'm going to do some sort of like family camping at like a public campground sort of thing, I will call and make a reservation. I'm not going to trust a website for such things. In the past, I've had bad experiences trying to set up things, reservations on the internet. So, yeah, I just like to talk to someone on the phone. Okay, well, we've been sitting here for a while answering some questions. I say it's time to keep on going. Now, as we're dropping down here in elevation, going down, 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 and down, it is definitely starting to get colder. So it's almost time for me to put my beanie back on. Might even have to put my gloves on. It's amazing how that works. The temperature difference. I mean, it was almost 45 degrees at the top of the mountain. And right now we're back down into probably the mid-30s. We're about half a mile away from the lake, so let's answer another question or two real quick. Also, I need to stop and put my beanie on. It's cold. Christian wants to know, what is my opinion of the Alice rucksack? But yeah, you know, it's not a bad pack. You can get them super duper cheap. If you're just getting into backpacking, if you want to do some bushcraft sort of thing, it's a great pack to start at. If you're going to go do true backpacking, and if you're actually going to go some distance, I would go with something a whole lot more comfortable. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Timothy wants to know, when did I start collecting gear? And I started collecting gear when I was a kid. I have knives that came from my great uncle from World War II, some bayonets and stuff like that. When we do the Military Surplus 2 Overnight Adventure, I'm going to tell you guys a pretty cool story about him. Very interesting indeed. But yeah, I've been collecting gear for so long, and some of the stuff I've already started passing on to my kids, which is really, really neat. Yeah. So, yeah, for as long as I can remember, I've been collecting gear. I guess I really got into collecting gear probably within the last 15 years. As a young man, as a young adult, man, you don't have much money. You're trying to figure out what you're doing with your life. So, you know, it's taken some time for me to actually get on my feet, start doing pretty well. So lots of hard work. Now it's paying off, and so there you go. Tex Grant wants to know, what criteria do you look for when deciding on a hike? There's a lot of things that I take into account. If someone's coming with me, I don't want to make it too strenuous because, you know, just to be honest, I'm in really good shape. I backpack and I hike a lot, and I have a really good pace. So, you know, there's going to be some hikes where just some people, they're just not ready for it. So it just depends. Always different. I also think about you folks and what you guys want to see. I try to plan trips where I know that there's going to be something awesome, something beautiful to share. Now, one thing I know for sure, my friends, is that I am coming down with a cold. Started feeling it before I headed out, come out for this walk here, and both of my kids have it. It's been kind of circulating through the house for about a week. I've been hoping that I haven't come into contact with it, but that's how it goes sometimes. You can only fight that for so long. Eventually, you're gonna do something, you're gonna touch something, and then your hands are gonna go in your eyes, your nose, your mouth, who knows what, and you get sick. Hopefully it won't get me down too much. So far I feel great, but I can tell, a little stuffy, and gosh, am I covered in spider webs. They are all freaking over me. I don't know if you guys can see all these flying around. Gee whiz. They are everywhere. Whew. We must have walked through like the mother lode there. Since we stopped for a second, it is time for the beanie. No doubt about it. Definitely getting chilly. As you can see there, definitely getting colder. When we first started up at the house, definitely weren't seeing our breath wasn't cold enough, but now that we're down here at the lower elevation, we're probably right at 30 degrees, maybe 29. Oh yeah, that definitely feels better. Let me grab the camera and show you guys around a little bit. So what we have here is just a stone bridge. Pretty cool indeed. on the other side, we have the lake. You might be able to see that over there. There's an island in the middle. Beautiful lake, no doubt about it. I tell you what, I think it is time to get a little bit of water here. This is one item that I've been testing out. This is the Platypus soft bottle. This is the half-liter, 16-ounce size, and this thing is really, really awesome. So far, no leakage. I've used this. I've carried this about 10 times already on different hikes and so on. And so far, nothing but good things to say about it. I love how slim it is. As you can see there, very slim. Fits right inside of this pouch, and you don't even notice that it's there. So, yeah, very cool. Now, as we were coming down the mountain there, I thought I heard geese. And oftentimes during the summer, into the fall, we'll have geese that hang out here. And there's this one goose, which we refer to as Karl. And this is my friends and I. And Karl is this funny goose who, like, every time we come down here, I think he's flown off now, but we come down to the lake, we hang out, and he laughs at us the entire time. It's like whack, 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 whack. It's just constantly sounds like he's just making fun of us, and we're always kind of just joking around like, ah, there's Karl, you know. If there was anybody in your group who would often like get you into trouble or take you on these extremely long trips only to like end up where you started, that would be Karl right there. Hopefully Karl will be back next year. Might as well grab some gloves too. Definitely chilly down here. This is just one reason why I love this chest rig so much. Man, everything is just super easy to grab. It's the perfect size, not too big, not too small. Absolutely perfect. Let's see, we have a question here about hammock backpacking. Let's see, what are my recommendations and experiences with hammocks? And quite a bit. I mean, not as much as some people out there, but enough experience to give you guys some pretty good recommendations. I highly recommend one of those solar pads from Hennessy. Man, they make all the difference in the world. They really do work well. Not only does it keep you nice and toasty, reflecting your body heat, but also protects you from the air going underneath the hammock, and it also gives it enough of a support where you can lay on it in different positions and be very comfortable. This individual says that their shoulders and arms cramp up and just cannot sleep good. And, you know, really that's a complaint that I hear from quite a few people, and it's going to take more experience, and possibly maybe just a hammock is not right for you. I mean, you definitely have to learn how to kind of lay. I recommend that you lay at an angle. So let's say your hammock is through here, right? Lay like this. Lay at a diagonal in it, and that'll give you a little bit more comfort. Some people are just meant to sleep on the ground. And personally, I much rather take a tent or a tarp. I like sleeping on the ground myself. I can usually go lighter weight, even in the winter months. By far during the winter months, really. Yep, that's just me. I'm sure there's a lot of folks on here on YouTube who can give a lot of recommendations and suggestions for you. Let's see here. What would you recommend for a good winter overnight backpacking adventure in the Appalachians? Well, in the winter, here in the mountains where I live. Now, you know, of course there's people from like Minnesota who would say, oh man, that's nothing. You know, we got 10 feet of snow and it's negative 30 degrees. And yeah, that's true. But here in the mountains, we have frequent blizzards, tropical storm strength winds, sometimes hurricane strength. And it's a very challenging environment up here, there's no doubt about it. So really, in the winter, you need a 4-season tent or a really good tarp. And you need to know how to set it up correctly. You know, don't set it up in the wind. Make sure that you have like some really good, very, very warm layers, and in addition to your sleeping bag, because oftentimes you will find that those temperatures drop a whole lot lower than what people forecast. So yeah, absolutely, gear and knowledge are key for the mountains. Awesome. All right, this is a pretty good question. What are your thoughts on the zombie apocalypse, and what would you do in one? This is becoming increasingly popular, and that's very true. You know, oftentimes my buddies and I, we talk about stuff like this. you can't help talking about apocalyptic sort of stuff. But, yeah, you know, it depends on the season, really. Now, since it's wintertime, or quickly approaching, the temperature's definitely starting to get below freezing, I would stay put. I would find some location, a house, that really is away from the population centers. And that's pretty easy to do here where I live. So I would avoid the town if I could, and do my best on the outskirts. Now, since it is wintertime, your threat of zombies is only going to last for a certain amount of time because of those freezing temps. So it wouldn't take long for those zombies to become popsicles. And after that, I'm not sure exactly what happens. What would you guys do during a zombie apocalypse? Well, my friends, let's keep on going. We're going to head around this lake, and then we're going to start going back up the mountain. Good, because I'm starting to get cold. Now, as I mentioned, I am testing out the new version of the Vask Jux shoe, and I like these a lot. Definitely improved, no doubt about it. Now, the previous versions of these, the tread was made from like this very soft, foamy rubber sort of stuff that would just rub off over time. I mean, it's pretty common for me to wear out a pair of shoes, but not just completely rub the tread off 100%. These shoes have a new tread on them that's very, very tough. I don't think it'll be wearing off anytime soon. Still have some snow and ice down here. As we're going along here, I'll answer some more questions. One question happens to be, do I ever run into any fans of the channel? And actually, I do. More so than I actually thought, really. Let's see. At my mother-in-law's funeral, I actually ran into someone who watches the channel, which was pretty darn surprising. At Trail Days this year, I ran into 2 viewers. Recently, I went to a shooting range. It's actually a gun shop that has a indoor shooting range downstairs. And one of the employees there, he actually watches the channel, which is pretty neat. I tell you, I love when I run into viewers. I just think that's so cool. If I had more time, I'd sit around and talk shop all day long. Talk about gear, talk about adventures. Heck, I'd like just to know what their story is. Everybody has a story. Where'd you come from? What did you do? What do you like? So yes, I do run into viewers all the time, actually. Oh my gosh. All these freaking spider webs. It's unreal. They're everywhere. As you can see there are spider webs all over the place. Golly. Alright, we're going to leave the lake and head on up the mountain. The next question deals with bug out bags. Do I have one? Yes, I do. But to be honest, there's so many components to it. And I also have different levels of bug out. So just kind of depending on where I'm at, where I need to go. I don't believe in a one solution fits all. So I have multiple setups. In the future, I'll go over those. I'll make a couple videos. That way I can show off every single piece. It's pretty darn funny. Yesterday, like I said, my brother and I, we came out here, we did a night hike, and this is back when there was still a lot of snow on the ground. A lot of it melted off during the day today, because it got up to like 60 degrees. But there's a part of this trail, this entire trail is only for foot traffic and horses. And somebody decided to take their vehicle four-wheeling in the snow on part of this trail. Well, this is all federal land, so you don't want to get in trouble out here, because those are federal dealings, and you don't want to mess with that stuff. So, yeah, someone decided to go four-wheeling, got their vehicle stuck. Mistakes were made. Whew. All right, my friends. Well, we are continuing to go up, up, and up, and it's definitely starting to warm up here. Temperatures are rising as we go up. So the gloves are off, toboggan's off. Might as well answer some more questions. Wordsmith8 wants to know, he says that he has a phobia of lightning and storms, just like I do of spiders. And should he be worried if he's out in a storm, if his tent has aluminum poles? And honestly, my friend, you don't have anything to worry about there. I mean, there's an inherent risk of being out in a thunderstorm in general that you might get struck by lightning. But I have never heard of a tent getting struck by lightning before. Unless your tent has some sort of, 20-foot lightning rod on it, I think you're going to be okay. If you know that storms are a possibility, you don't want to set yourself up on top of like a grassy knoll, right on top of a mountain where there's nothing else around you. So, you just kind of got to be smart about it. If a storm does hit, you just hunker down, man, and you'll be all right. Will you do a long-term review on the Eberly Stock Terminator pack? And absolutely, and really to do that, I just need to get some more hands-on time with it. I've taken it out maybe a handful of times, and I mean, the truth is that it's such a big pack. It's overkill for most things. In regards to backpacking, it's just too much to carry. I mean, the pack itself is about 10 pounds, and it offers a ton of space. So as I get it out more and get more experience with it, I'll continue to fill you guys in. Andy wants to know, when am I coming to the UK? And so does Bobo. He wants to know the same thing. Sadly, folks, probably not anytime soon. I would absolutely love to. I really would. But with me being a family man and having to work, yeah, probably not anytime soon, sadly. I'd love to see the country, though, no doubt about it. Now, this is another question that kind of goes along with something that we already answered. How do you plan a trip to a new spot for camping? And really, that's just all about research. Research, research, research. Find how many spots along this trail there are to camp, if they're good sources of water, and, stuff like that. Also, you need to know how strenuous it's going to be and what type of conditions, weather conditions, are typical. So usually that's the type of research that I do. Jared wants to know, what do I think the future of outdoor products is going to be? Especially with 3D printers coming into the market. Honestly, I don't see the outdoor market changing a great deal. Now, constantly, there's always new materials coming into the picture, like carbon fiber. That's one of the newer ones. But, I mean, there's even newer ones than that. Some companies are taking a step back from carbon fiber and going to this other stuff. And I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look that up for you, but there's only so much that can really change. You can change the designs, you can change the colors, you can add a couple of features, but for the most part, typical gear is going to stay the same. There's going to be mild improvements here and there. So you might see some new fill for sleeping bags, you might see a new material for a tent or a backpack, something like that, something lighter, stronger, something more breathable. But I think for the most part, it's going to stay the same with just, intermediate upgrades. So, Matthew wants to know, where did I get the patch that I had on the Camelback Tri-Zip pack? And that is one of the patches that I had made up. I actually had two different types of patches made. A black, white, and red one, and a coyote brown with black text. Both are pretty cool, and in the future I will be offering those to whoever happens to want to buy one. Kyle wants to know, what is my favorite food when I'm out camping? His are MREs. And I like MREs, but gosh, they are heavy, and there's no doubt about it. Now, of course, you're not supposed to eat the whole thing all at once. It's 3,000 calories or something or other, so it's like a whole day's worth of food. But they are heavy. I typically like freeze-dried meals. Mountain House are really, really good, and their ingredients are usually pretty good too. So very lightweight, easy to use. If you don't eat it all, you can just seal it up. So very convenient, no doubt. So my friends, I think for now I'm just going to hike along. I'm going to enjoy the night, enjoy this trek. We're in the woods right now and it's pretty darn thick, so there's really nothing to see. So I'll bring you guys back once we get to the top, and we'll finish up with the questions and answers. Guys, I want to show you something really, really cool. Whoa, look at the size of that owl. Wow, man. I like owls, and that thing is huge. That was really, really cool. I just happened to be walking along, just kind of shining my flashlight. And I was like, whoa, 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 what is on that tree right there? And we caught it on camera. Woo! Love hiking at nighttime. Hello, Cone House. Whew. All right, my friends. Well, our adventure has come to an end, and we're now back at the Moses Cone Manor. That was really, really good. We got to see some deer, we saw some rabbits, we heard coyotes, we got to see a gigantic owl. That thing was huge. That's definitely one of the biggest owls I have seen in a very long time. Just absolutely perfect night hike. We're going to finish this off by addressing the questions that you guys submitted to me on Facebook this evening. Now, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, now's a pretty good time. Lots of commentary, lots of photos, lots of good interaction between viewers and myself, and between them as well. So you'll find a link in the description box down below if you're interested. Toby wants to know what inspired me for the Strength and Honor. Really, I was thinking about that. I was trying to think about what does the Outdoor Gear Review stand for. And, you know, I wasn't even thinking of the movie, I think it's Gladiator maybe. I think that's what that might be from. But I was just thinking about how we should all live our lives. That inner wolf inside of us to do good, to help people. And, I mean, that's just kind of how I live my life. I like to do good, and I see people in need, I want to help them. Not bragging about myself or anything, but my neighbor's house burned down the other night. And so, you know, I mean, my wife and I and my family, we all gathered some money and gave it to them, and just to help them out. That is what this life is all about. It's about helping others. And, I mean, it's not about yourself. It truly is about everyone else. Or that's just the way that I see it anyway. Because, you know, this world needs some freaking kindness. And it needs people who have strength and honor. No doubt about it. CJ wants to know, what do I think about the Ribs pack? And I think it's great. I have 2 of them. They're fantastic. Now, personally, for a shorter hike, I can get away with a pack just like this. Now, for a longer hike, man, they are terrific. Lots and lots of space. No doubt about it. You can carry a full-size water bottle in them. And just anything else that you need. Goes really well with backpacking. Just like this does. So, yeah, definitely a good investment. The quality's great. You can't go wrong. Which do you enjoy more? Day hiking or night hiking? I like both. But I seem to experience more at nighttime. That's kind of when I come alive. I kind of wake up and I want to go play. I want to go howl at the moon. No doubt. Mike wants to know, what do I recommend for a good down sleeping bag? Temps down to about 20 degrees. That's a loaded question because there's still a lot of questions that I would have to ask you. How important is weight? And how much do you have to spend, really? Do you like being very, very confined and restricted, like a mummy sleeping bag, or do you like to have a little bit more space? Now, if you're going super ultra lightweight, grab yourself a quilt. You can get a 20-degree quilt that rocks about 1 pound, but you're going to pay like $400 for it. If you want to save some money, go on Sierra Trading Post, find a coupon, save 40-45% off of whatever sleeping bag that you find, and you'll get something that weighs maybe 2-3 pounds, something like that. Big Agnes makes some great bags. I love that integrated sleeping pad sleeve. Man, that is just really, really awesome. And talk about being very, very comfortable, because when that sleeping pad is inserted, you can just toss and turn and roll around all night long, and you don't have to worry about your sleeping bag getting all wadded up or having the hood in front of your face. So, yeah, there you go. Kyle wants to know, do I have any interest or knowledge in wild edibles? You know, I am not the greatest expert on wild edibles, and I mean, I do know a little bit, just from my local area, of course, growing up, playing around in the woods. For most people, I would never, ever, ever recommend that you go around eating stuff in the woods, even if you think you have a good idea of what it is, because there's a lot of things out there that will kill you, and if you're lucky, they'll just make you very, very sick. You know, it's like books on wild edibles have killed more people than they've actually helped. So you just have to be extremely careful. I don't recommend it because, I mean, there's just plenty of stories of people, I mean, make some big mistakes. So be careful, my friends. Jason wants to know, do I have any desire to thru hike the AT? And absolutely, I definitely want to. Maybe when my kids get a little bit older, I definitely will. And I say that a lot for a lot of things, but, you know, as a parent, you have to be there for your kids. You have to be there for your wife if you're married. It's just kind of the whole thing about being an adult and having responsibilities. But one day, I definitely will. Joseph wants to know, when making your summer sausage and rice meals, and I showed a video on how I go about doing that. Awesome backpacking meal, no doubt. Great for camping too, super delicious, very, very easy. He wants to know, do you drink the water after you're done? Since you live in bear country. Typically, I add so much rice that it ends up absorbing probably 99% of the water. Now, not always do I finish every single bite, and if that's the case and I end up having to dump some out, I will make sure to go hundreds of yards away and throw it out. Definitely go as far as you feel comfortable. Don't go so far that you lose your camp or anything, but yeah, go far away from your camp, dump it out. Don't do that around your campsite. You're going to be okay. You just got to do the best you can. I mean, they're going to smell it as you're sitting there eating it, so you know what I mean. Chris wants to know, when you're hiking alone, do you ever feel that you're being watched? And do you ever stop and turn around and look? Absolutely. I probably did that maybe 10 times tonight. I'd hear things rustle, and sometimes it was just myself. But, yeah, you can definitely sense that there's eyeballs upon you. And sometimes it's just nothing more than animals. Maybe it's the spirits of the woods. I don't know. But, yeah, absolutely. Does it ever freak me out? Sometimes. You know, sometimes you'll get eerie little feelings, you know. My best advice when it comes to stuff like that is that when you get a creepy feeling about something, if you can, turn around and go back. Pretty simple. Do not let your imagination get carried away. Don't let that just spook you. Don't run off. Don't let the adrenaline take over. Keep your mind. You're going to be all right. Most things are purely in your head. But definitely pay attention to that little voice, your intuition. It's there for a reason. Kathy wants to know, when am I going to make the Campfire Biscuits? And I completely forgot about that. I promise you I will do that soon because, man, they are amazing. So good. All you need really is a little bit of water. You need a Ziploc bag. You need some Bisquick and some tin foil, and you are ready to go. So good, especially with chili. Oh, man. Sean says that he's out for a walk in San Diego, and it's quite a bit warmer there. I bet it is. Enjoy it, my friend. Karl wants to know, what do you wear as a base layer on a night hike? And that completely depends on how cold it's going to be. Now, tonight, I just have a t-shirt on. This is a down jacket, and really, up here when I'm moving around, it's a little bit too much. I really didn't expect it to be 40-something degrees on top of the mountains, but that's just how it goes sometimes. No matter what, you want your base layer to pull moisture away from your body and to evaporate it quickly. Don't wear cotton. A lot of people say, oh, you can wear cotton. Don't wear cotton. Cotton really is a killer. It absorbs water, it absorbs moisture, and it does not release it very quickly. It stays wet for a very long period of time. So do not wear cotton. I don't recommend that you wear jeans. If you happen to get wet, if you're sweating, I mean, it's going to wear you down, it's going to rub your raw, it's going to make you cold. So wear something that evaporates your moisture, your sweat. Very, very smart, very, very important. Now, I'm talking about 100% cotton. There are variations, just like with my Fjallraven pants here, which you might be able to see just a little bit of. They're a cotton blend with something or other. I can't remember right off. But with it being a blend, it's very quick to dry, very comfortable, very good product. So stay away from cotton, 100% cotton, you'll be all right. Someone says, did you know that you have over 30,000 subscribers now? No kidding. That is pretty sweet. Growing at a pretty good click, no doubt about it. Greg wants to know about cold weather footwear. Any recommendations? Boots and shoes. Well, it really depends on what you want to go after. Are you talking about waterproof? Are you talking about insulated? You know, I mean, you definitely have some options there. Do you like shoes or do you like boots better? So, yeah. Now, personally, when it gets starts getting really, really cold, I like to have an insulated boot. And usually I'm talking about 15 degrees and lower. Otherwise, I will just layer with a moisture-wicking liner sock, and then some sort of thick wool sock over that. I will do another one of these series of questions and answers and be a little bit more specific, and I'll give you some recommendations. Have you done any hiking with snowshoes? And I haven't. We get some good snowstorms, but not enough to justify snowshoes. Yeah, sadly, we just typically don't get that much snow. Kim wants to know, when will Susie and I go on a hike again? Very, very soon, actually. We've been talking about that. We definitely want to do a day hike. We definitely want to do an overnight adventure, so we'll see what comes up, but something fairly soon. Dieter wants to know, what's the real difference between a 3-season and a 4-season tent besides price? Very good question, and this oftentimes confuses people. You know, every once in a while, I will show off a 4-season tent. And when I throw out the price there, man, some people will just flip out and they're like, no way am I going to pay $400 for a tent. Guys, there is a huge difference between a 3-season tent and a 4-season tent. 4-season tents are sturdier, stronger, made to withstand very high winds and snow loads, whereas a 3-season tent is not made for that. Also, a 4-season tent will typically keep you warmer than a 3-season. That's the main differences. Jason wants to know, do I keep all the gear I test? Most of it. Now, for Christmas, I plan on doing 30 days of giveaways. And basically, it's going to be one giveaway per day. And I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning, man. I'm going to give away some of the gear that I know that I'm just not going to get around to using, because I do have so much. Andrew wants to know, any other hobbies besides backpacking and hiking? Really, it's so chaotic in my house that I very rarely ever really get to focus on what I'm doing. So a lot of times I can't pay attention to stories. So I just need something where I can just smash buttons and just kind of zone out and enjoy myself. So I play some video games here and there, not a whole lot. I like to read. Besides my Facebook page that I have here with the Outdoor Gear Review, I don't do Facebook. I'm interested in the news from all around the world. I find that very, very interesting. Here in the United States, I am not a huge fan of mainstream media, so I'm constantly reading news from alternative sources. I do like photography quite a bit, even though I haven't been able to get out and do anything recently. I'll go ahead and flash some photos here on the screen of some of my work. Tell me what you guys think about it. So my friends, for this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review, I just want to say thank you all so very much for joining me. Thank you all for submitting your questions. I appreciate it. Now, of course, I wasn't able to answer every single one. This video would be 10 hours long if I did. But in the future, we'll have another series, another part to this, where you guys can submit your questions again, and we'll get around to them. So with this, I'm going to say good night. Strength and honor to everyone. Thank you so much for everything. Everyone, take care, be well. I'll see you guys around.